Hey, this is Pamela Riemenschneider for Blue Book Services, and I have Anne-Marie with me here in Austin. She's on the road, I'm not. But we have spent a day. What are you here for anyway?
I am here for the food service conference.
Retail and food service.
Retail and food service conference, yep. And it's been wonderful. I think I've never knocked out so many store tours in one single day. Or an afternoon, really.
I know. I picked her up at the airport, and we have eaten 2 food service at retail. We just finished our second meal of the day at a grocery store here at the Whole Foods headquarters. We're up here sneaking around on their top mezzanine here, and we're going to talk about what we saw today. Doing a little bit of store tours here in Austin on our own little guerrilla store tour. And I picked you up at the airport, and we started at Fiesta.
Yep.
And Fiesta, I picked this store, which is in South Austin, because a couple of years ago they flipped the store, really did a nice job remodeling it. And I hadn't gone in to see it in a while, so what did you think of it? Have you been in a Fiesta?
I had been in a Fiesta when I last lived in the San Antonio market and had made my way up to Austin, and I was very pleasantly surprised. You had mentioned it was remodeled, but it was very nicely done, and I just think stores like that do a great job in truly bringing ethnic food in an authentic way, and I think that just really works.
Well, I always try to buy something when I'm at a store doing store checks, and Fiesta has the best keep mangoes. This is the time of year to buy the biggest your face mangoes. So I picked a couple of those up. They were $1.50 each. It's really hard to beat something like that. So that was fantastic. Our next stop, I took you up to the HEB store, the Mueller.
Yeah.
And that store I picked because it's in the tech area, and it's also in a development where they've added a whole lot of housing and urban housing because it's very close to the University of Texas.
Yeah.
So what did we see at that store that we liked?
Well, clearly they matched the store itself to the audience and the whole techie feel around it. It was clearly one of those LEED certified stores. Loved the fact that they brought in a lot of the refrigeration, the produce behind doors.
Almost everything was behind a door there.
Yeah, it was incredible. I don't think I've ever seen so much behind doors, and it wasn't just the value added, it was a lot of just regular items as well.
Yeah, the meat was in this raw situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was crazy.
Now, the only thing I was surprised about in Europe, the behind the glass has been around for several years, and most retailers there have stickers on the door where it will say this type of refrigeration or freezing saves X% on a regular energy usage, and it will even draw the consumer in by saying, can you make your selection before you open the door to help us in this energy saving initiative? And I didn't see anything like that there.
Yeah, I was thinking about that after you mentioned it, and I think the only store I've ever seen here in the United States that has that is Dave's Marketplace in Rhode Island. So hey Kenny, how's it going? Dave's has the doors on everything, and then I think they had a sticker that talk about the energy savings that the doors provide.
Yeah, that just seems like a natural good step to do. Yeah, but very, very nice store.
Yeah. Next stop was H-Mart up in my turf up in Northwest Austin. And that is a Korean grocery store that is based in Brooklyn, I believe. And they built that store about 1.5 years ago. Have you been to an H-Mart?
No, and it was on my list, so thank you for taking me there. Very, very impressive. You typically see some smaller Korean markets where the produce section is tiny. The selection in mushrooms especially blew me away. The prices blew me away.
The Asian veg looked fantastic. The stuff that they sell a lot of looked amazing. There are a few things that maybe they don't sell so much of. Perhaps artichokes is not their forte, but for the things that they know their customer are going for, all of that looked amazing. And they also have the custom bags with the breathability on them. I saw that. That's something I hadn't seen before.
No, very, very beautiful store.
And then it has a really cool food hall as well, with the kind of looks like food trucks and a little dark food truck thing going on. And the thing that always surprised me about that store is how big it actually is. The complex took up a Sports Authority and a Bed Bath & Beyond, and it's enormous.
Yeah,
so pretty
absolutely.
Cool to see.
And yet shoppable, which I thought was very interesting. Sometimes you get completely lost in those kinds of stores, but the signage actually I was really blown away by, especially in the produce department. The lighting, the signage, the decor, the quality of the produce. It was a fantastic store.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure. Next stop was a Target, which actually had a similar lighting scheme because it's the new Target. We have one here in Austin, Texas that has been remodeled into the new format. And you hadn't seen that format before.
No, it's actually also the first time that I saw so many items priced at the each.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. And I can see if it's a shopper that comes in for a lot of smaller baskets where you buy a meal and you just want maybe an apple for the next day's lunch or something. I can see that working. It's different.
It was different, and even since the first time I've been in there, they've kind of moved around some of the produce where you walk in and you see produce right away, but then it also just, the couple of reefer cases turn into snacks immediately.
Yeah.
So they've kind of divided the produce department to add more snacks into there. I thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah.
Then another HEB. I had to take you to a suburban HEB Plus. Everything's bigger in Texas, and the HEBs get huge.
They do.
So this one I've been shopping at for a decade now, and they have made it into kind of a tech area. They try out a lot of new technology there. But what I took Anne-Marie for is because she also writes the Power of Deli for the Food Marketing Institute. They took out the hot deli at this HEB and replaced it completely with their Meal Simple. So what do you think of the Meal Simple? All the little cases of Meal Simples. That was interesting.
Fantastic. You know, I think a lot of times we focus on dinner, but I think there is really, and for produce as well, there is really good opportunity in snacking. Fantastic opportunity in lunch, even breakfast, and I thought HEB in your store there did a fantastic job in bringing out all those different meal occasions and also bringing produce into all of those as well.
Yeah, I keep looking around
nicely
here.
done.
We're on the Whole Foods mezzanine, and there's people going around here. I feel like they're going to kick us out here in a minute.
That might well be.
We'll just sneak around real quick. We're almost done. And then we stopped over at a Walmart, and what I was looking for at Walmart was actually to see any changes with the newly announced Produce 2.0.
Yeah.
And the only things we saw were the manager specials, something that I'd never seen at a Walmart before. They added manager specials, and they started to change some of the ways that they're merchandising some things. So I thought that was interesting.
What I found very interesting is you had mentioned the issues with out of stock, the continued issues, and I will say, you know, you hear a lot of times about the regional differences, and being in the Florida market compared to the store you showed me today, I absolutely saw enormous differences, and so I think that is definitely a continued improvement for 2.0.
Yeah, quick stop at El Rancho Supermercado. That's my favorite place to go here in Austin to buy like specialties for if I'm going to make some kind of something mole or something like that. They have the best chili peppers there, the dried chilies. And then in the produce department, the fresh cut they do in house is the best I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Although downstairs, I mean the produce, the fresh cut looked like a lookbook for fashion advertising. I thought
color coded and everything.
So
absolutely, it was
so
beautiful. But you're right. I mean, typically you don't see a whole lot of fresh cut in ethnic formats, and I thought they did a very nice job. In addition to being authentic in the produce and other items as well. Very nice store. Yeah.
Next stop was 99 Ranch Market, which you haven't seen before.
No.
I hadn't seen the one here in Austin before. What I thought was different about that store is that they've remodeled it from, I think it was a hardware store. So they're kind of like working with what they've got. So the layout was weird. Like you walk in and all of a sudden you're in candy, or you were in...
That's right. That was the store where I actually walked back out to see if we had snuck in the exit by accident, and no, it said entrance, and the very last department that we entered into was actually produce, which was very contrary to how most stores tend to shop and put produce up front.
Yeah.
So, but the produce department itself was good.
I think the layout was good, the decor was nice, and you saw a lot of the examples of packaged produce, and then something I'd never seen before was so many kiwi fruits.
Yeah.
They had
6-7 varieties, I want to say. Yeah.
They just had like, SKUs of them where they would have by the each, and they have like a multi-pack, and then they had flats, and then they had cases, and not only green but also gold kiwi fruit, and then I think I saw some organic as well. So that was something that stood out to me from that store. Next to last stop was, and I made you wait, of course, and I took you to Central Market. I mean, what's not to love about Central Market? You're a Texan. You were a Texan for a while.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I believe you have to be born in Texas to be a Texan. You can never become one, but I tried. No, Central Market is amazing, and this was actually not one that I had seen before. It was a little bit smaller than the other one in Austin.
It's different.
What really stood out to me is just continues their signage as well as the depth. Like if you walk by their tomato display, you just cannot walk by there and not buy tomatoes. But a sign I really loved was the Why Buy Organic, and we'll actually be seeing each other a little bit later this week at the
Southeast Produce Council Southern Innovations, the organic show.
And we'll be talking about organic there. And what really stood out for me in talking to a lot of consumers about organic is that they don't really know why you should buy or would want to buy organic. And I interviewed probably close to 20 consumers, and every single one of them said, oh, chemicals. Chemicals was the one and only answer they came up with. And, just seeing signage on the wall that talks about not contaminating water, keeping healthy soil, small farmers. Those might all be different things that resonate with people that are not currently buying organic or not buying it as much. Just additional arguments. I really like seeing that.
Yeah. And then we finished our tour here with another meal. We ate again at Whole Foods, and this is the corporate headquarters here downtown. And I've been coming here since they opened it. They keep changing everything in here. They keep moving stuff around, and I get used to it. And then I come back again a couple months later, and all of a sudden something I knew was. But it kind of keeps it exciting. For one.
Yeah.
And again, that fresh cut set was the prettiest fresh cut set I've seen in a while. It was gorgeous.
We hear a lot right now about the perimeters where the fight is taking place, and I think Whole Foods just has taken that to a whole other level, and just the way they do prepared foods, the way they blow out produce and meat and all the welfare programs. They just are who they are, and they're very consistent in who they are. And it's just again a beautiful store, and clearly one of their flagships.
And it's and one of the trends I saw in there too, and it kind of continues, is they're having a hard time. Everybody's having a hard time keeping organic celery on the stock. They had a hard time. They didn't have any down there. It's because I'm drinking it in my smoothie, in my juice here. This cold pressed juice is actually celery. I feel like I'm going to live forever drinking this. But
there you go.
So,
we can do this again then.
I know, right? So it kind of wraps up our store tour here in Austin. Just kind of a homemade store tour, again with Produce with Pamela for Blue Book Services and Anne-Marie. I will see you again later this week.
Sounds good.
In Nashville.
We'll do this again.
Yeah.